Hey ladies, how's it going? Happy Thursday. So we are here for our Q&A. Let me pull everything up and I'm going to dig into the training today. One second, I'm going to tag you guys so that way you know I'm here live doing our training. If you're watching the replay, write hashtag replay in the comments so I know that you were here, okay? Replay. All right, tagging you guys. Cool. All right. So if you are new here, I will typically post a Q&A post and there will be questions on them. And then what I'll do is I'll pick a question and I will go live and do a little bit of a training on one of those questions. Okay. And then also there was a couple other ladies that asked questions. I wrote you guys back and I have a couple free guides that might help you. And I tagged you in other trainings that might help. There's a lot of questions about um, training and getting toned, a mixture of working out, training, and getting toned. So, all right. So if you are here live, say hello in the comments. Let me know how you are. The topic for today: what foods should be off limits? Are any foods off limits? Especially if you're paying attention to your calorie deficit, your calories, your protein, and your fiber. So let's dig in and talk about it a little bit. So if you guys know what I believe in, there's no foods that should be off limits. And if you ever do anything ever that tells you you shouldn't have certain foods, that's a huge red flag. Don't listen to it unless it's your doctor telling you not to eat certain foods. If it's a diet or a program or personal trainer, a coach, anything like that that's telling you not to eat certain things, don't listen. You should be able to have things that you like, but I want to dig in and about it a little bit more. So the main things that you want to be paying attention to is going to be calories and protein when you're losing weight. Those are the biggest things. And then fiber is very important. That's up there as well. So no foods should be off limits for weight loss, especially if you're in a calorie deficit, okay? When you will need to start changing things is if you feel like your body isn't responding accordingly, responding well, you just don't feel good. So, overall, you can definitely lose weight eating things like pizza and ice cream, but it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to feel good. You might feel very sluggish, have low energy, just not feel good, feel bloated as well. All of these things can happen, and that's probably indicators that you need to change your diet a little bit overall. Not all foods are equal when you're feeling low energy, or even if you're feeling hunger. If you're feeling a little bit too hungry, it might be because you're not eating the right types of foods. Maybe you're not having enough whole foods, you're having too much processed foods, or very calorie dense foods as well. Okay. So, what is most important is going to be the calories, the protein. Like I said, the fiber is very important as well. So, if you want to start paying attention to fiber, making sure you're having enough, the goal is a little bit different depending on your age, a little bit. So 25 grams for a woman is very good if you're under 50. If you're over 50, you can get away with a little bit less as far as the fiber goes. You can get away with around 21 grams of protein for women if you're over 50 years old. So that's a good range to have for your fiber. And one of my favorite things, really easy way to get fiber in is raspberries. Raspberries has so much fiber, and also it's really low calories, so you get a lot of bang for your buck when it comes to raspberries. There's a lot of good fiber foods out there though. um all right, overall ladies, food is kind of, calories especially, it's kind of like money, and you need to decide if you want to spend your money on certain things. So when you're spending your money or your calories on things that are like whole foods, so things like lean meats, protein, veggies, fruit, things like that, one ingredient food, whole food, you can get a lot for your money or a lot for your calories. It goes a very long way. When you spend your money on certain things like pizza and ice cream, you can't get very much because it's very, very high calorie. You can't have that much. So it doesn't go very far. So the something really important to do is decide on your spectrum how important those certain things are. If it's like a nice to have, like don't need to have it, maybe it's not worth spending all those calories and eating all of those things. But if you feel like it's really high, like a 9 or a 10, you just love to have those items, yeah, it sounds like it's probably worth it. And that also goes for if you're going to like parties, holidays. Halloween is coming up, right? And so, you might be looking at all this candy. Maybe you don't need to have all the candy, but spend your calories on the ones that are the most important to you, okay? So I always like to use that analogy. Calories are kind of like money. What do you want to spend your money on? What's really important to you? So overall, a good range is 80 to 90% of the time you want to shoot for whole foods. That's a really, really good range. And then 10 to 20% of the time you can have the stuff like ice cream, Halloween candy. You can enjoy yourself. And if you kind of get away from that 80 to 90% range and you start to have less whole foods and then have more like fun things, you might notice that if you're staying near calorie deficit, you might feel more hungry overall because there isn't a lot of nutrition to those items like the ice cream. You can't have very much of it. So you're more likely to be hungry, also more likely to feel bloated, sluggish, just not as good throughout your calorie deficit. So if that's the case, if you're just not feeling good or maybe you're too hungry, maybe we need to change the types of food you're having and increase the other foods like lean meats, lean proteins, fruit, veggies, maybe have more things like oatmeal, just like natural whole foods, the one ingredient type food. Okay, so 80 to 90% of the time is a really, really good range. And if you're finding you're still hungry at that point, it's possible that you might not be in the right calorie deficit for you and your body. And I've mentioned this before. If you have no idea how to get into a calorie deficit, I have a free guide. So you can message me calories and I will send it to you to help you get into the right range for you and your weight loss. But overall, remember that there's no food that is off limits. Some foods will make your weight loss so much easier. So that's why it's important to have the foods that's going to make your weight loss a lot easier. Okay. Things to kind of ask yourself is, am I hitting my protein goal? Am I getting enough fiber overall? Am I in that range? Am I having enough fruits and veggies? How's my energy? How's my digestion? Am I doing my workouts? All of those things are going to be so important for your weight loss. So don't necessarily look at foods and label them good or bad. There's no bad foods, but certain foods might make your weight loss journey a little bit harder if you're having, especially if you're having too much of it, okay? So instead of having all of them, maybe pick your favorites. All right, ladies, that's what we have for today. If I can help you with anything at all, shoot me a message. Hello, Andrea, I see you. I hope you guys have the best day, and I will talk to you later. Bye, ladies.